Don't forget to go live.
I just did. What's up, everybody? This is the Fourth and Long podcast, episode 16, titled Michigan is already setting up for a rivalry game cancellation versus Ohio State. We'll talk more about that when we get in there. Jake, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you, Justin?
I've been feeling under the weather lately, so you know a little bit about my situation, my condition. It's all good now, but I have to really watch my salt intake. And of course, over Thanksgiving, I was like, okay. Over Thanksgiving, I was like, I'll go good for one day, and I'll be all right. But I ended up eating leftovers, of course, for the next 3 days. So my pancreas has been killing me, and it's gotten cold. And on Monday or Tuesday, we lost power all day. I thought I was gonna die because it was so cold, but that's my life story. But there's some good topics we're gonna get into tonight. I think there'll be a lot of tension between us and some of these things that I bring up. But first, I want to Jake is not at fault for this whatsoever. It's all me. We should have mentioned Sarah Fuller last week. We knew about it last week, but I just forgot to put it in. So obviously, Sarah Fuller, the Vanderbilt women's soccer goalkeeper, was the first woman to compete in a Power 5 game. She kicked the second half kickoff. And it was who's the Colts old punter that does radio now?
Pat McAfee.
Yeah, Pat McAfee. He said
Pat
three
McAfee?
things. Yeah, Pat McAfee. Yeah, he said 3 things about it. He said it was unreturnable, in play, and in good field position, so it was a perfect kick, and it was. And so it's very awesome for her, and it's good for women. It was a great weekend for women in sports. My Cleveland Browns, the tight ends coach on Sunday was Callie Brownson, who is usually chief of staff, but was taking over for the tight ends coach. I can't remember his name, but his wife was giving birth to their first child, so it was good. It was a good week for women in sports, and I kind of just want to go back and I want to say that there are no bigger losers in life than people who hop on I don't know, like college football will post or ESPN or somebody will post something about Sarah Fuller or then something about Callie Brownson about, well, that's all nice and great, but could a man do it better? It's like, yeah, probably, dude, but just shut up. Let them have their 10 seconds of fame. You don't need to ruin it.
I also want to point out that she's playing for Vanderbilt, who didn't score a single point that entire game. So you can't the point of the kick was to be a squib kick, so they couldn't return it. And as Pat McAfee said, it was in play, unreturnable, and was good field position. It's perfect.
Yeah, and so I on Saturday I was going through some of her tweets, and I mean, it's just, first of all, the woman, I guess, is not I think she's probably 21, 22 because she's a senior. I mean, she went through a lot of injuries and stuff to get back on the soccer field, which is what she wanted to do. She's from Wiley, Texas, so she knows everything about football, but she suffered a lot of injuries. She even had to deal with some depression for a while. And just let her have her time. I mean, that's awesome for her. I mean, she'll go down in history. Like someday, if you or I have a daughter, we'll be telling them, yeah, we saw the first woman ever play in a Power 5 game.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got on there and I saw people doing that, it was like, dude, really, you have to sink there. It's almost like hand in hand when college football fans tweet at recruits who don't sign with their college. They're like, oh, well, you're going to go to I don't know, USC. Oh, good luck there. Good. So if you're older than 22 years old, if you're older than 18 years old, you should not be tormenting people for their accomplishments, things like that on Twitter or Instagram. So you guys are on my shit list. You shouldn't be
tormenting people in general. It's just not wrong. It's not right. You shouldn't be tormenting people anyways. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all.
Yeah, and it was like the first like reaction to her kicking was like, yeah, but could a man do it better? I was like, dude, you're the first. You must have been waiting all day to be the first one to just hop in on there to get it. So I wanted. I just want to give her and Kelly Bronson their deserved praise, because it's awesome. I mean, it's really cool. Obviously, how is his name? Who's Vanderbilt's coach? What's his name? Oh, Derek Mason. He was fired on Sunday after the game, but he had a great closing statement. He's like, I had the privilege of coaching thousands of young men at Vanderbilt and one courageous woman. So, I mean, just let them have their time, and it's gonna be what it is. But yeah, don't be too into people when you don't have any reason to. So that's my rant. That's my first rant until I get on to the next one. But we're going to go over some news and notes. Unless you got anything else, Jake?
No. Again, I just think it's wrong. And if you don't have anything nice to say, you shouldn't say it at all. I mean, let her have her moment. And it was a historic thing. And again, we don't know what she could kick a 65-yard field goal. And a guy hasn't proven to do that. I think maybe one in the NFL, but not in college. So there's no reason for me to believe that women. I mean, there are women that could play defensive line, offensive line. I'm sure women could possibly be better kickers than men and punters than men. I mean, you've seen what the women's soccer team does, the U.S. women's soccer team. So I mean, it's just it got on my nerves, and it kind of. Started me off on a bad week. Well, this is supposed to be a longer special episode, but we're having exit velo hop in about an hour, so we're going to get through what we can get through, and then if not, you can ask us questions or anything like that. But we're going to head over to some news and notes. There weren't as many COVID cases. I don't know if that's because they're covering them up or what, because I mean the SEC has no more room for cancellations or make updates unless you're a team that's not in the SEC championship. You could play on that 19th, but there's not as much news about that. The first piece of news is UCF quarterback Mackenzie Milton is seeking. He entered the transfer portal and is seeking a starting role somewhere. The way that dude hurt his leg in, 2 years ago in that bowl game, it was disgusting. It was one of the most disgusting ways I've seen a leg go the wrong way than it should. It was horrible. So it's good for him to get back out there. And I mean, let's be real. He was pretty good there. I mean, he'll find a place to play. So why don't you take the second one? I think you should read it for us. I don't want to, but I will read it. BYU will actually finally play a ranked team. They're replacing Liberty this Saturday versus Coastal Carolina, and it's going to be the first time College Game Day is actually going to be at Coastal Carolina. So, yeah. And we'll kind of get into it later on, but I think this could be game of the week.
Oh, I already put it down as game of the week.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't going to put there was like a couple other decent games, but most of the week's slate is filled up of that game, Ohio State and Michigan State, which needs to be played, and then like SEC makeup games. So,
I mean, Indiana versus Wisconsin might be a good game, but I still think Coastal versus BYU.
Did you not see Penix Jr.?
No, well, I know. I saw that.
Yeah, he tore his ACL.
Yeah.
And we'll get in more to it later, but I think more and more that we're heading to college football Armageddon. So,
yep.
All right, the next piece of news, LSU is the biggest underdog versus Alabama at home in 40 seasons. They're the biggest underdog for a reigning national champion. And then they play Alabama at home. They're plus 29.5. And honestly, I don't know what I put down, but I don't know if I would take that.
I don't know either. That seems way like LSU. Well, they did just have their top wide receiver opt out. So
Yeah, and there have been a couple of people that opted out. Someone else opted out. J.C. Horn at South Carolina, and then Sam Cosmi, the tackle from Texas.
mhm.
Yeah, and then okay, and I guess we'll get into. Read this one first. The Las Vegas Bowl has followed other bowls' footsteps and canceled their bowl game for the 2021 season due to the virus. We talked about it at nauseum. There's going to be a lot less bowls this year. There's going to be a lot less competitive bowls. So bowl season won't be quite as what bowl season that we're used to.
Also in some news.
Go ahead.
Also in news, they just announced the Rose Bowl game is gonna be without fans this year, due to the current predicament happening in California.
Yeah, but I think they might. Well, it's only going to get worse, so I don't know. But
Well, they just put in a stay-at-home order in California, so
I know, but the reason, I mean, the 49ers have to play in Arizona for 2 games this year because
no,
Santa
they're playing
Clara,
the rest of their they're playing the rest of they're playing the rest. They basically moved the entire team to Arizona.
like I
So
usually
they're
like
not even like, they're gonna play their final two. They're gonna play their final home games, and they're also just gonna train and they're gonna train and practice there.
I mean, I usually like California. They swing pretty far left, and it's like I don't really vote, so I really don't care. But like, what are you guys doing out there? Like every 3 miles, something is different. It's like there's no contact here. Oh, but you can play ultimate frisbee here. Like, just like figure it out, guys. Come on, Schwarzenegger. Is he still the mayor, the governor, or whatever? I don't know. Well, whatever. On to the bigger news
No,
of today. I don't know if you. I don't know if you. What?
No, I didn't say anything. So he's not the governor anymore.
What I was talking about earlier, this would be my second rant that I will try very hard not to curse on. Michigan cancels the Maryland game that was supposed to be played this week, and they halted all athletic football activities. I don't know if you saw it earlier in the week when Michigan was halting activities and everything. Kirk Herbstreit kind of came out of the woodwork, and he was kind of joking, but I think he was kind of serious in a sense that he said, I'm hearing from people that Michigan is going to throw the white flag on this one. And people went after him, and they should. Don't get me wrong. But I don't know. I don't know if he's lying. I mean, dude, this would be the biggest thing at Michigan Jim Harbaugh's ever done is if he knocks Ohio State out of the Big Ten championship and out of the playoffs by just canceling a game. That would be his biggest victory at Michigan. I'm not kidding.
I think it might be strategic. You never know. I mean, it's gonna be. I just think if they do play that game, they're gonna get ran over like a poor dog, like a poor turtle in the middle of the road. It's just not gonna be pretty.
They're screwed. But I mean, in college basketball, Coach K's like this. That's why I don't like Coach K and Jim Harbaugh. They're both snakes. Coach K before the season this year knew he didn't have the best recruiting class he's had because it's considering he had Zion and those guys 2 years ago. He knew his recruiting class wasn't that good. So he was one of the only college coaches that was in for not starting college basketball and just doing the tournament at the end of March. So they're snakes, and like I said, I would find it very hard to believe that Michigan would willingly throw in the white towel, but at the same time, it might be smart. I mean, if they really are sick. You can't send your backups out there against Ohio State. They'll get killed.
No,
they'll get killed. So I understand it that way, but I mean, if Harbaugh ever wanted to go out on top of Michigan, this would be the way to do it. And
all right, this is my last year. I'm gonna stick it. I'm gonna stab him in the back. I'm just gonna cancel this game.
Yeah. Herbstreit took heat from everybody. He's still taking heat. The Michigan AD came out and like had a tirade, like profanity laced thing aimed at him. So, yeah, but like I said, I mean, I was born in 92. You were born in 2000.
99.
99. I mean, I can't remember Michigan ever being this low. Like this is, I think
No.
this is the
This is
lowest
the
point.
lowest they've ever been.
Yeah. So if you were ever going to do it, you might as well just do it now, take the shit, and just go on with consequences and start over. It's like redo your program. So, well, that other than that contentious little thing, we're gonna cool it down a little bit, and we're gonna do 2 truths and 2 lies. And I got this one in this week. This week it is on Coach James Franklin, head coach at Penn State, who also might get fired. Who knows? All right, number 1, he was born in Illinois. 2, he had a 1-year.
So are you saying he was born in Illinois? Okay.
Okay, yeah. The second one is he had a 1-year stint with the Colts as a wide receivers coach. Franklin's 24-15 record while at Vanderbilt is the highest total in Vanderbilt history, and he has won Big Ten championship in 2016.
Okay, so the first one I know is false. I remember them talking about it. So first one's false. Can you repeat the other 3?
Yeah, so he wasn't born in Illinois. Yep. He had a 1-year stint with the Colts as a wide receivers coach. Franklin's 24-15 record while at Vanderbilt is the highest total in Vanderbilt history, and he has won Big Ten championship in 2016.
I'm gonna say the Colts one is incorrect.
Nice, you got them both. Yes, he did not.
Wait. Wasn't it it was Pat? It wasn't it Green Bay?
Yes.
Okay.
It was
I remember them saying he was. Yeah, I remember hearing something about that. I forget if it was. I thought it was Green Bay, but I knew it wasn't. The Colts.
Yeah, and I was just surprised they won. I for whatever reason I can't remember 2016 when they won the championship. That must have been the 1 year that they won the Big Ten championship, but the playoffs still took Ohio State, I think, and that's why Penn State.
Yeah, it was probably. I think that was the case.
Yeah. All right. And now we lead back into our tirade laced more attention. The new playoff rankings and our reactions.
I can do it this week if you want.
All right, yeah, and then we can kind of do our last weekend's recap in here a little bit when we talk about it. So go ahead, big shot. Number 13, all the way up 1 spot.
Number 1, Alabama. Number 2, Notre Dame. Number 3, Clemson. Number 4, Ohio State. Number 5, Texas A&M. Number 6, Florida. Number 7, Cincinnati. Number 8, Georgia. Number 9, Iowa State. Number 10, Miami, Florida. Number 11, Oklahoma. Number 12, Indiana. Number 13, BYU. 14, Northwestern. 15, Oklahoma State. 16, Wisconsin. 17, North Carolina. 18, Coastal Carolina. 19, Iowa. 20, USC. 21, Marshall. 22, Washington. 23, Oregon. 24, Tulsa. And 25, Louisiana.
So what are your kind of takeaways from that?
I mean, I'm not surprised that they only moved up 1 spot after their victory last week. I mean, they still were dominant. I still think they'll keep moving up. But again, we have Florida moving into the first 2 out category, which I said they should have been in last time. So I think that's a nod to them. I also think Cincinnati, I mean, they have to postpone another game this week, so I think you're going to see when next week rankings come out, they're going to drop again. I think Cincinnati is a better team than BYU, but at the same time, BYU is actually playing games compared to Cincinnati, who, they took that 21-day layoff a couple weeks ago, and now it looks like they're going to have to take off at least a week or 2 before they play another game.
Yeah, to me, I'm kind of just realizing this, but looking at the top 7, I think those 7 teams are the 7 teams that are going to finish highest. Not necessarily in that order, but but it seems like those 7 teams are the ones, or really, and not really even Cincinnati as much
Yeah.
as Texas A&M and Florida, but they're really the ones that we're working with now.
Oh, I completely agree with you. I still think BYU should be in the top 10. I mean, they should at least be number 10. I don't think, to be honest, Miami, Florida deserves to be ranked 10th
No.
in the country still. After they got absolutely demolished by Clemson early on in the season. We still remember that. We were like, "Oh, this could be the biggest game of the year," and then it
Yeah,
failed. Like we all
first
thought it
half,
was going to.
first half happened and it was over.
Yeah. But I mean, I think you're completely right. I mean, Texas A&M's a really good football team. I don't think they're going to make it in, but out of those top 7 teams, Florida really has a chance to make it in this year. I feel like if Notre Dame can beat Clemson again in the ACC championship game, I think it's a wrap. I think that Ohio State moves up to number 3, and Florida moves into number 4 if that's the case. I still think Clemson's going to be in top 10, but I just don't think they're going to be in the top 4 if they decide to lose again to Notre Dame in the ACC championship game.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking this up right now. Just what the percentages are for each team to make it. I know I saw Ohio State was at 77%. Because I do think that if they play this week against Michigan State, the Big Ten will come in and change the rule that you have to play a certain amount of games to be in the Big Ten championship, or just at least amend it for 1 year. I mean, the Big Ten cannot afford, with all the money they're losing in. Oh wow, we're talking about football. With all their money, all the money they lost last year in March Madness and through other sports. They can't put a Saturday night primetime game on Fox of Indiana without their star quarterback who has a torn ACL versus Northwestern who scores 20 points a game and just wins off turnovers. So, I mean, they just physically can't. I mean, like money-wise, I don't think they can. Then I would say Alabama probably has the best chance to make it. I think Notre Dame, the more and more this season goes on, I think Notre Dame might be the best team in the country.
I agree with that. They're just all around. Ian Book, again, we talked about it going into the Clemson game. Ian Book needed to transition from that game manager to an actual dominant quarterback, and he did in that game. He did. He led that team back, and they still were, Clemson was without Trevor Lawrence, but again, Ian Book showed something he hadn't shown all season, and that's the fact that he can sling the ball with accuracy. You don't need to just have him hand the ball off. He can actually make decisions accurately and make the right decision. And he's shown that after that game too. It wasn't just a one-hit wonder. He's kept that. And I mean, that defense is probably the best we've seen all year.
All right, so
Alabama's defense has been struggling a lot. They can't keep teams out of the end zone.
Notre Dame,
I think Notre Dame is by far the best team in the country.
By far,
all around was.
I wouldn't say by far, but all right. So I kind of just thought this in my head. Okay, we're gonna take the top 15 from the rankings and just pick out what your 4 dream teams would be, and the matchups, and then the matchup in the national championship. What would it be?
Okay, my top. Well, do you want me to go realistically or somewhat realistic based on the rankings, or do you want
realistic? But you can also throw BYU in there if you really think they stood a chance against any of these big boys.
No, I don't think so. I think the highest BYU can finish is probably 7.
Yeah, I think I think they'll end up finishing, as long as they beat Coastal. I think they'll end up finishing as the first one out of the first 2.
Yeah, I got that.
17.
My realistic top 4 right now is Alabama, Notre Dame. Hey, do you want me to go in order or no?
Just do your 1-4 matchup, your 2-3 matchup, and then your dream national championship.
My 1-4 matchup, Notre Dame versus Florida. My 2-3 matchup, Alabama versus Ohio State. And my national championship game, Florida versus Ohio State.
Taking us back to 2006 to I don't know when Chris Leak was there. Chris Leak, he's gotten in some trouble. We shouldn't say his name. Yeah,
I mean, I just think that's if Notre Dame can beat Clemson in the ACC championship game, which looks like what it's gonna have, like it's gonna end up being a matchup for the ACC championship game. I think Notre Dame moves up to number one because of how impressive they were able to beat that Clemson talent that talented Clemson team twice.
so you think if Florida beats um Alabama in the SEC championship, you think that Alabama's completely out?
No, I said Alabama was in it.
Oh yeah, you said 2 or 3. Yeah, you're
I
right,
said 2-3 was Alabama versus Ohio State. I said with Florida beating Alabama, they would jump into the top four. You can't leave Alabama out of the top
No,
four
I,
this
th-
year.
I think unless they have some kind of meltdown or like a nuclear strike,
Yeah.
Alabama's going in.
If they lose like three of their offensive linemen, Devontae Smith tears his ACL, and Najee Harris like busts a kneecap, like just completely blows out his knee, then that's the only chance anyone has.
Yeah, and I mean, Florida would be able to probably beat him, but anyone else on their regular season schedule still can't beat him. So, mine is probably close to yours. I would like to see Notre Dame as the 1, play Cincinnati as the 4, and then Ohio State as the 3, play Alabama as the 2, and then Ohio State and Cincinnati in the national championship. So I mean,
that's also that's a big possibility. Also,
the only team that really like pauses me from thinking Cincinnati has a chance is Texas A&M, because they're never going to go above Texas A&M. No. But like, see, the problem with Texas A&M is like, I think they're just solidified at 5. Like they're just there. They have to be there. Because I mean, if you think about it, if Clemson beats Notre Dame in the ACC championship, they'll still probably both be in the top 4. And then if Florida, and that was one of my other hot takes, I'll get into it, but and if Florida beats Alabama, if Florida beats Alabama and Clemson beats Notre Dame, I can guarantee you're looking at Clemson versus Alabama, and then like Notre Dame versus Florida, something like that. And that would make the selection process so easy for the committee, just to be like, these teams have played the most games, so they're going to go in. And I wouldn't hate them for it, but I don't think the country would like that much. But yeah, other than that, there's really no shockers in here. I think
our top 4 are pretty similar. You just have Cincinnati in over Florida, which is
I just have Cincinnati in because I think it would be cool. It would be. I would almost want to cheer for Cincinnati, because it would be like, if you like did a map of the state, it would be like 95% scarlet and gray, and then like this little Cincinnati City black and red. So, but yeah, that it would just be really cool. And I really do like Luke Fickell. I think that if Franklin ever at Penn State, if Franklin ever falters up, get as bad again next year, I think he'll slip right into that position. Even though I'm not so sure it almost seems like Penn State's still a job that's kind of like, you don't want to go to it because of everything that's happened in the past. But yeah, so we'll see. I don't think things will change this week or next week when these come out, as long as Ohio State beats Michigan State and they all win. I think everything as it is right now, up until Conference Championship week, I think everything as it is right now will stay as it is till now until Conference Championship week. So I think you're looking at 1 through 4 unchanged, unless Ohio State has to cancel a game. And so we'll get through a quick Week 14 preview brought to you by Back Sports Page. So we'll go over the Week 14 preview. Last weekend was okay. I mean, the biggest game was Michigan State beat Northwestern 29-20. I mean, I understand why players don't want to go to the Big Ten and play football, because I mean it's just terrible.
It really is terrible.
It's great for linemen, but it's like, what do you like? Come on. But yeah. So we'll go right into that. The first matchup I have is mine, or I just kind of handed them out. Did every other one. Ohio State at Michigan State. Michigan State seems to be healthy. Ohio State will not have Day on the sidelines, but they seem to be healthy and doing everything they can. And you got to think, even in Ohio State's backups, first Michigan State could do pretty darn well. So I expect, as long as this game is played, I expect Ohio State to come out and want to kill someone, and Michigan State will be the unlikely victim. I think Justin Fields will throw for over 500 yards and kind of make his way back in the Heisman talk, but not really. He would only be a maybe for the 5th spot if they invite 5, but I don't think they'll invite 5.
Right.
So
Yeah.
then you could take Texas A&M and Auburn.
Yeah. I mean, this is a huge matchup for Texas A&M, and for really both teams. Auburn can they got trounced last week, but this week their defense has really been terrible this year. Their offense has really started to turn it up and really start to hit the right note. Bo Nix is, not being as terrible as he was at the beginning of the year, but
playing at home.
Yeah, I know. So I think Auburn has a very good chance to win this game. I know Texas A&M is ranked. They're in the ranking this week. They're 5th, but I think Auburn can play a huge upset here and just come out and shock the world, because they're not the biggest underdogs here. The stat line that I'm looking at is Texas A&M is -7 with an over/under of 48.5. I think Auburn can pull this game out. I think their defense is going to rally at home and be able to really shock Texas A&M.
Yeah, I thought I had Auburn as one of my picks, but I guess not. That's fine. Big 12, Oklahoma State, TCU. We can go through these quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really think Oklahoma State's going to have a bounce back game in any way, but I do think they're better than TCU. So I think they'll beat TCU.
Agreed.
Syracuse at Notre Dame.
That's going to be Notre Dame all day. They're playing at Notre Dame.
Yeah, that's going to be a bloodbath. I don't even. We'll talk about a lot of this stuff in the offseason, but why they don't mix up I kind of understand, but why they don't mix up the ACC, the Big Ten, and the Big East for different sports? Why isn't the Big East or the ACC doesn't include so and so and so and so, and then for basketball, everyone good's in the Big East. So
Right.
But yeah, Florida at Tennessee. Florida is -17.5, I want to say, or 18.
I take the 17. I take 17.
Yeah, I think Tennessee is really a team that once they get down, they're like, man, F this, I'm done. They don't want
once they get down, they just kind of give up. There's no fight in to try to even get back in the game. They're just like, all right, let's just hand the ball off and kill this clock because we don't want to be here.
And then
West Virginia at Iowa State. West Virginia is an okay team this year, but Iowa State's playing on a whole different level this year.
Yeah, but I will say this is a big trap game for Iowa State because they've already clinched their spot in the Big 12 championship, so they could come out of this and be like, whatever. Because let's be realistic, I do think actually Iowa State is 1A and Oklahoma, I would say, is 1B in the Big 12. But they're not going to get into the playoffs, so
no,
nothing drastic happens.
I think they're going to play this game conservatively. What's the favorite here, or who's the favorite here? I assume it's Iowa State, but how much? Do you know?
Yeah, just give me a second. Take over the next one.
Yeah, the next one we have up is the second game of the week, I think. Number 12, Indiana at number 16, Wisconsin. This game's I feel like low-key could be really good, but at the same time, we could just see a blowout from Indiana. Wisconsin's really struggled this year at points, and Indiana has just come out and kind of surprised everyone. Do you have
Penix is out. Their quarterback's out towards this hill. It sucks for that guy. I think Wisconsin will dominate this game. Dominate's the wrong word. Indiana will stick around. And I don't know what the line is. I'll see if I picked one. But the West Virginia-Iowa State line is very low for some reason. It's only Iowa State -6.5. at Iowa State too. So something must be up. They said it was whatever little thing popped up on Google said it was a 3-star play to get Iowa State to cover. So
Yeah. I would take Iowa State still in that game. I just think it's a lot better.
The last one before we get into the game of the week, Clemson at Virginia Tech.
Yeah, Clemson all day. I'll take whatever the stat line is for that.
I think the first quarter's close, but I think
the first 5 minutes are close. I think that's pretty.
I mean, if you can't get pumped as a Virginia Tech player, running out to Enter Sandman, there won't even be fans there. Wow, I totally misplayed this. Okay. Good thing I haven't locked in my bets yet. And then our game of the week, which just came to us today, basically. Coastal Carolina was supposed to play Liberty, but Liberty's facing some COVID problems. So they're going to go ahead and play BYU. And I actually did you read up at all on the reasons why BYU wouldn't play at Washington?
No, I heard. I was listening.
They were like a lot of people originally came out and said it was a cowardice mood. No, BYU was in the right and not going there. Washington was offering no money. They would have to go through the Pac-12's testing system, which is very different from any other conference, apparently. Yeah. And like I said, they were going to get no payout from it. So, but yeah, this one, I can definitely tell you that tomorrow or Saturday night, I will be watching the first, not even the game of Clemson for Virginia Tech. I'll watch the walkout with Enter Sandman, and then I'll be checking on that BYU Coastal Carolina game because that should be a good one. It should be a good one.
Yeah.
And with that, like I said, we got to kind of get through this, but we'll go with our top 10s. I'm looking at mine right now. I would probably switch Iowa State to number 8, Georgia number 9, and then put Oklahoma at 10 instead of Miami, Florida. So mine would be the top 7, Iowa State, Georgia, Oklahoma. So
yeah. I mean, for my top 10, I would switch BYU to number 10.
Yeah, I would put BYU at 10 over Oklahoma. Yeah, I would.
Over Miami, Florida. But I would I'd switch Florida to number 5 and Texas A&M to 6. And I keep Cincinnati, Georgia, Iowa State, and the top 4 as the same.
Yeah. I agree with you. I probably would usually change Florida to the 5th spot over Texas A&M, but I mean, we all know what the end outcome is there. No one knows anything. They can be ranked whatever they want. They have to beat Alabama to get in, and then
they have to be at Bama to get in.
And then we'll get into a little bit of Heismanology, which has been sort of a roller coaster this year. Just a lot of different players coming and going. And wow, how did I not put the Heismanology banner on here? Wow, you suck, Justin. But yeah, this is our Heismanology. So number 1, I have Kyle Trask.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I think it's his to lose. And then I have Mac Jones at 2 and Zach Wilson at 3. I think Zach Wilson's better than Mac Jones. I think he's had a better season, but Jones will get the points for the record and the SEC and the Alabama. And I also think Mac Jones is kind of like that spider, that creepy dude right behind you. That's behind Kyle Trask and Zach Wilson, waiting until they just throw one interception so we can go off and throw for 500 yards and reclaim the title. But and then for 4th, I had Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields. It's very funny that we started out with Justin Fields as Trevor Lawrence is the pretty much guaranteed 2, and we've somehow. I still think it's crazy that Trevor Lawrence is going to go. If he's the 4th best quarterback, they'll invite 4. They'll do anything they can to get him there because I just don't think that I could see college football not letting Trevor Lawrence get on some kind of Heisman action at some point. So
yeah, I feel that. I mean, my again, we have similar top 5s. Kyle Trask is my number 1. I can't stand Mac Jones, so I'm moving him down to my 5th spot. I have Justin Fields at number 2, Zach Wilson at 3, and then Trevor Lawrence at 4. I think Justin Fields is still probably the second best quarterback right now. Even though I love my boy Zach Wilson out of BYU, I just think Justin Fields is a lot more talented, and when he's on, he is lights out. I mean, he had an uncharacteristic week 2 weeks ago and an uncharacteristic week last week. I think once he gets back into his groove, then it's a wrap. I think if you had Justin Fields go up against any of these quarterbacks, I think he'd outthrow most of them. Trevor Lawrence before COVID, I don't think so, but I think that's really the only. I think that Trevor Lawrence before he had COVID would be the only player out of these top 5 that could beat Justin Fields.
Yeah, you remind me sometime. You got to remind me. We got to do a section on here, maybe in the off season or leading up to the Bowls or something like that, of ranking Trevor Lawrence's seasons at Clemson, because I think it's not as drastically as Jake Fromm fell at Georgia, but I think ever since his freshman year, he's gotten a little bit worse. I mean, he was touchable his freshman year. Yeah. And then we'll head into our picks. Do you have your picks and locks?
Yeah.
I'll update everyone on the big board. I was 0 for 5 in my picks last week, and I was 2 and 3 in my locks. Jake had a much better week than me. I think you went overall 5 and 10. I know you got at least. You went 2 and 3 in your locks, just like me, but I think you got 2 or 3 of your picks as well. So good for you. I'll start out with my picks. I'm just doing it by the games that I thought I'd cover. I got Ohio State minus 24, Notre Dame minus 34, Wisconsin minus 14, Virginia Tech plus 22.5. And BYU minus 10 as it is right now. Everyone hop on that while you can. It's only going to go up.
Yep. I kind of going to go out of order. My first one is the Florida minus 17.5. I also have, where is it? I'm just trying to find my thing. I'm going to take the BYU minus, I believe it's 10.
Yeah, I just said it.
Yeah, well, it's weird. I had a 10.5 line. I'm going to take Clemson minus 22, and then I'm also going to take Auburn. I'm going to say Auburn plus 7.
That's a good one. I couldn't find that one. I might add that one to my locks. But
yeah, I think Auburn. I think the game's going to be a lot closer. I think it could be like a field goal game or even like a 4-point game. I just don't see it being a touchdown game. I see it being a touchdown game up until like the final moments.
All right, so for my locks this week, I like the Vanderbilt Georgia under 54. Vandy couldn't score last week against Missouri. They definitely can't score against Georgia. I like the BYU Coastal game over 60. I do like LSU plus 29.5, even though as I'm saying it, I think it's wrong. I just don't know. I just don't know how. I don't know how they've fallen that far in a year. My fourth one is Oklahoma State minus 2, and then my fifth one is Iowa State minus 6.5.
My locker this week, I'm going to go with BYU minus 10. I think that they're just going to dominate Coastal. I don't think Coastal's defense is that good when they face a high-powered offense like them. I'm also going to take the Florida lock of, I believe it is the under of 60. Is it 61.5 or? But I'm going to take the under in that game, Florida versus Tennessee. And then for the Texas A&M Auburn game, I'm going to do the over of 48.5.
I'm looking for the over-under right now. The over-under is 61.5. So you want the under on that?
On the Florida game, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to text you because I didn't hear what most of you said. So,
okay.
I was trying to find that Florida stat, and I was thinking that's something else. Players to watch. I'm just going to go through these real quickly. Ohio State's offensive line. They've had some trouble in the past 3 weeks. They escaped Indiana. They should be out for blood this week, and after missing another game, and Michigan State, like I said earlier, will be the victim. So make sure you watch Ohio State's offensive line, especially Wyatt Davis. He's going to be a top 15 pick at the guard position, which is not very doesn't happen very often unless you're Quentin Nelson and an animal. But who you got?
My players to watch this week, I have my boy out of BYU, Mr. Zach Wilson, actually going up against a solid Coastal Carolina team, but this is really him to pad his stats and really solidify himself as one of the best top 5 quarterback in the country, because some people will have that up for debate. But again, my offensive line to watch this week would have to be probably – actually, no, I would say my team to watch this week is Notre Dame. Just see how they play against Syracuse, who's a scrappy team. And then my other one to watch this week is the quarterback out of Indiana who's replaced. Oh God, I don't even have his name written down. Hold on, who is it?
Okay, I'll get my last two. I have Bo Nix. We've said it all year. Bo Nix home and away games are like night and day. He looks like a deer in headlights on the road, but on the inside, the confines of Jordan Hare. He is a great quarterback for Gus Malzahn's system. Ohio State, Florida, and Cincinnati will all be happy if the Tigers can knock out the Aggies, which is true.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I found the name. Jack Tuttle, for Indiana.
Turtle.
I think this kid's very talented coming out of high school. I think he'll be able to prove himself in this game. I mean, I don't think he'll be able to get the dub, but I think he'll at least show that he's still a good quarterback for when that man goes out to the draft this year, Michael Penix Jr.
And so the last one I had is the other quarterback in the BYU Coastal matchup, Grayson McCall. He's a redshirt freshman. He's going up against what could be the best quarterback in the entire country. If he can lead a steady attack and the defense can get some third down stops, they can pull off the upset. It is in Coastal Carolina. It should be good weather. And then BYU fans everywhere can be quiet about how they think their team deserves to be in the playoffs. Scheduling, BYU. Scheduling. Just remember that. That was aimed directly at you.
I know it was.
So this is a new segment that I added today. I don't know why, but I thought it was funny. Everyone remembers Tate Martell, the dude who went to the quarterback recruit that went to Bishop Gorman in Las Vegas. His whole family's super rich. He's really like just an idiot white guy. His sister's really hot. I added a link to her Instagram on the outline, but he started at Ohio State, then he transferred to Miami, and here's the update. Martell is still in Miami playing quarterback for Coach Manny Diaz. However, as soon as Eric King arrived on campus, Martell had been getting snaps at wide receiver. Good news for Martell is he is dating Kiki Passo, a Brazilian Instagram model. You go, Tate. As for his sister, Riley, well, she's well on her way to becoming an Instagram model herself. What a great family. Happy Thanksgiving, Martells. We're going to skip 1 minute debate, and we will get into the Max Roundup. Really, there's nothing to say other than if you haven't heard of Jarrett Patterson yet, you'll have to watch one of his games and like tell me because basically all they do is they like run like a lead option to his left, and the line like all pulls, and he just runs behind the line. Like I don't know how he does it, but yeah, over the weekend versus my Kent State Golden Flashes, the NFL prospect ran for 409 yards and a record-tying 8 touchdowns. Him and Kent State quarterback Dustin Crum are real NFL prospects to watch, and that's true. Crum won't go to the 3rd, 4th, or 5th, but I've seen some articles today even that Patterson, you could see him go in the 1st round. So That's it for that. Now we'll get into some trivia. Remember, we're not doing old timers trivia.
I know. I already have mine, so
You want to go first, second?
I'll go first. Who holds the record for most passing yards in a game? This record was set in 2014.
It was one of the air raid offenses. Was it? Who runs the air raid? Washington State, Texas Tech, 2014. Patrick Mahomes?
Nope.
Okay.
You have one more guess. I'll give you one more.
Is Baker Mayfield then?
Nope. Connor Halliday from Washington State.
Okay, I do remember him a little bit.
I think it was 700. I have 704 yards. But
okay, you're gonna love my question today. The Ray Guy Award was introduced in 2000, and it goes to the best punter in college football. From 2014 to 2016, one school kept the award between two winners. Tom Hackett won in 2014-2015, and Mitch Wisnowski won it in 2016. What was the school they went to?
Who? So you said Tom Hackett and Mitch. Was it Utah?
Nice.
I remember. I got you, man. I started reading up on my trip. I started learning my shit, man. You kept blowing me out of the water with some of these questions. I had to educate myself. Do you remember? Do you remember the yards they had though for punt?
No, I didn't know.
They did set a record for yards. I'll have to do that next time for trivia, but in two of the seasons they each had over 3,000 yards, which at the top, two of them had 3,000 yards total over the season, which was like second most before the next year won it, who I'll probably trivia you next week. My second question is, with Jared Patterson's performance in 2014, what two gentlemen traded the record almost a week apart? You should get this one. This was one of my easier questions.
This is Samaje Perine and Devin Singletary.
Ooh, wrong. You got the first one right.
Yeah, Samaje Perine. I know that. Go ahead, type in.
What's your next question?
Melvin Gordon. What?
Yep.
Seriously?
Yep. Melvin Gordon had it the week before, and then the week afterwards, literally like as he was going his interview, they finished up the game, and Samaje Perine passed him. November 15th and November 22nd.
You're scaring me a little now.
Why?
You know too much.
I can't. I educated myself.
All right. This Mackey Award winner in 2003 was criticized by the media after his tirade-filled rant about how football is like going to war. Who was that player?
What year was it?
2003. He played tight end, won the Mackey Award. In the locker room, gave profanity.
I know who this is. You can't trick me with this. You can't. It's Kellen Winslow. Dude, come on.
Do you think I was going to like, yeah. What do you mean I would trick you with it?
No, they just had the anniversary of his like tyrant like a month and a half ago. It was on SportsCenter. It was like a flashback moment.
Okay.
All right. This one you should get.
You're not asking where people went to college, so I'm not as good.
No, I'm not asking you where people went to college. That was the first question.
I know everyone.
Who had the most rushing yards in the first half of a college football game? Mind you, only semifinals.
Who had the most rushing yards in the first half?
Of the college football playoffs. And a college football playoff game, but it was. I'm just saying the semifinal game, not the national championship game. But I will take if you can tell me, because the first half it's off by like 6 yards. You can tell me one of the players, whether it was a semifinal game or national championship game. I will give you credit for it.
Derrick Henry.
I'm gonna let you take a second guess at that because you're wrong. But
Oh, Ezekiel Elliott.
ooh, close. J.K. Dobbins.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense.
I was about to say, man, it was Ohio State kid. You just were so. I'm like, that's hard, bro.
All right.
What's your last question?
I have two more actually, so I guess you can gain even more ground on me.
Okay. All right.
Stanford had two players win the Doak Walker Award in 2017 and 2009. Who were the two players?
You said, can you remind me? So the Doak Walker Award is the
Running back.
running back. You said 2009?
And 2017, a Stanford player won it.
So I know who the 2017, right? So I know 2017 was Bryce Love. I remember that. You said 2009?
I believe he went pretty high in the draft.
I think he did. I'm just trying to remember what his name was.
Remind me a lot of Peyton Hillis.
Oh, Toby Gerhart.
There you go.
Okay. What's your last one?
All right. The Maxwell Award was first given in 1937 to Clint Frank of Yale. What other winner of the Maxwell Award also has an award given out to college football players in his name? So this guy won the Maxwell Award, but later they added a new trophy that went to college football players in his name.
So you got to repeat that. You said a lot and then kind of jumbled at the end. So you're saying the first award winner of the Maxwell Award was who? It was.
Doesn't matter. It's Clint Frank, but
Okay.
it was first given in 1937.
Okay.
To Clint Frank of Yale. What other winner of the Maxwell Award also has an award given out to college football players that represents this guy who won the Maxwell Award's last name?
There's only one I can think of, but I don't know. Is it? There's so many. I don't. Is it Chuck Bednarik? I think is how you pronounce his last name.
Yeah, that's one of them. But I guess there's another one too. I didn't look very hard.
Oh, well, I mean, Chuck Bednarik was the only one that I was thinking way back when.
Come on, you should get this one. Doak Walker.
Okay.
All right. All right.
I mean, I did get I technically was right, I guess, but I didn't get your answer. So.
Yeah, you're good. So that's gonna do it.
What year did Doak Walker win the award?
I just had it up. Where is it? Doak Walker won in. And the Davey O'Brien. Davey O'Brien is also another name. I missed two names. I think I meant to say Davey O'Brien. But yeah, it was Davey O'Brien won in 1938. Doak Walker won in 1947. And there was.
Chuck Bednarik was after that.
Yeah,
he won in 1948.
48 and he won for Penn. So as always, that's it. That's gonna be our only show this week. Unless something crazy happens tomorrow or Saturday where we need to hop on and let everyone know. Make sure to follow our Twitters. They usually are up there. I don't know what's wrong with StreamYard. But they usually are up there. And then just follow us for updates. I will update the big board, try to get a picture of it out. You'll have to send me your picks and locks again. I didn't hear him. But yeah, and obviously anyone who has COVID, wish them safe and happy recovery. And you know what, just please guys, let's just play these final couple weeks of college football without any issues. Please. I don't need to be writing an article about 6 games being postponed because Michigan doesn't want to play or Florida State doesn't want to play or BYU doesn't want to go to Washington. I'm sick of it. Just play football, guys. That's all I got. Jake, take us out.
All right, guys. Peace and love, everyone. Make sure you guys all stay safe, no matter what state you're in. Be mindful of those around you and be careful of those around you. All right, guys. Peace.